After the cliffhanger ending in Species, where we see an alien infect a rat, you just knew they were gonna make another one. But for the sequel, Species 2, they scrapped it. Pretend you didn't see what we set up, but hey, we got Natasha Henstridge back, and you know you'll see her naked. So I guess you gotta watch it now. It opens up with a mission to Mars. The first manned ship is about to land, and the lucky human being who will be the first ever to step foot on another planet is Patrick Ross. Him and his crew spent the last 11 months traveling here. You would think they'd make it worth their while, right? Wrong. He gets a couple of samples and then heads back to the ship. What a waste! If I go to Mars, you better believe I'm going to sit back and take in the views. They put the soil samples away and prepare for their long journey back home. But something's off. One of the tubes warms up, and out of it comes alien DNA. This slime infects the crew, and they go dark for a few minutes. But after a while, they all come to as if nothing even happened. But something did happen, and it's changing their bodies as we speak. On Earth, we see Syl, alive and well. What the heck? Last time I checked, she was blown to smithereens.
Let go, you motherfucker.
Well, this isn't Syl, but Eve. Extraterrestrial vulnerability experiment. Cloned from the same alien embryo as Syl, but raised completely different. For one, she's had no male contact in her entire life, just to keep that side of her under control. It seems like they've done everything in their power to keep her docile. And by they, I mean Dr. Laura Baker from the first movie. Why on God's green earth would she want to clone another alien species is anyone's guess. She says it's because she felt bad for the human side of Syl, but that just doesn't make sense. They keep experimenting on her, thinking they can find a way to kill her, but after each go, she just keeps regenerating. Back over to the astronauts, who are attending a fundraiser for Senator Ross, Patrick's father.
And my son, Patrick Ross.
After he gives a few words and kisses a few babies, he's hurting for a squirtin'.
Come on in.
The one goes to the bathroom directly afterwards, and sure enough, insta-pregnant. And out pops the baby. But Patrick's not a bad father. He's not going to just abandon his kids. No, he hides them in a barn. What a good single dad. Elsewhere, we see Dr. Ornsky working late at his lab, and he just made a terrifying discovery. The DNA in Patrick's blood matches the alien DNA from before. To make matters worse, the sample falls over, causing the blood to spill all over the floor. It becomes sentient and heads over to the wall. Ornsky here must not be too bright, because he just touches it with his bare hands. And that's when it uses this opportunity to attack and kill him. Now everyone knows there's another one out there, and it's time to call in the big guns. Preston Lennox returns and agrees to hunt this thing down for a cool $1 million. After what happened in the last movie, I think I would charge more. Preston meets with Dr. Baker. Eve seeing a man in real life for the first time, so that little experiment went down the drain. But the two team up to once again hunt the species down.
Now the fun begins.
Their only real lead is a professor who taught Dr. Ornsky at Stanford, Herman Cromwell. He's locked up in a loony bin because he tried to warn them before sending a ship to Mars. He knew it had alien DNA on it. You see, he studied a meteorite that came from Mars and found dormant DNA on it. But that doesn't really make any sense. If you remember from the first movie, they said they were using SETI and found an alien signal from light years away. Mars is not light years away. Well, they do try to explain this by saying the aliens must have been to Mars 1 billion years ago, and that's the reason it's a husk of a planet now. The species wiped everything out, and that's exactly what they're going to do on Earth if we let them. Now, Preston and Baker know the virus must be attached to one of the astronauts, so they have to find them before they do the nasty. But 11 months away from your partner is a long time, and they all want it bad. We already know Patrick's going at it, and now it's time for Anne, the female astronaut. She gets hot and heavy with her husband, and once they're done, she's insta-pregnant. The baby pops out and kills her husband. Our heroes show up to the party just a little too late, and they're both found dead. The only one left to check is Dennis Gamble, and lucky for his partner, they stop him just in time.
Dennis Gamble, we'd like you to come with us.
They take him back to the lab to test his blood. While they wait, Gamble wants answers. Understandably so, but everyone's lips are sealed tight. Things escalate, but finally the results are in, and he's clean. No alien DNA in him. But Patrick's a whole other story. He wakes up the next day to see his wife dead, and he has a new son. All of this is just a little too much for him to take in, and when the human side is in control, he grabs a shotgun and pulls the trigger. Just for the alien to completely regenerate him. But now, the human side is gone. And the monster's able to walk the streets, procreating with as many women as possible. But something very interesting is happening. Every time he gets some, Eve feels it, like they're psychically connected, and we can use that to our advantage. They hook up Eve to a machine that will make her more alien, giving her more strength and libido, but also allowing her to see through Patrick's eyes, giving him away. Preston and Gamble team up to find him, and they track him down to a grocery store, where he's once again trying to get lucky. Geez, my guy, take a break and get some food or something. There's more to life than humping. Well, he knows that the guys are after him, and he kidnaps this poor chick and throws her into a van to start doing the deed. It's not too hard for the guys to find him, but oops, wrong van.
No, man, don't shoot!
While the two species are connected, Eve looks at a lab sign, purposely giving away her position. And that's all Patrick needs. He's not interested in humans anymore. He wants someone his type. I guess Natasha Henstridge will do that to you. He willingly gets taken in, and they all go back to the lab. You know, the same lab Eve is in. I'm pretty sure there's other places they could go, but for some reason they decide to take the Keymaster right to the gatekeeper. He escapes, the two look at each other through glass walls, instantly in love, and will stop at nothing to get some. Laura's the only one with some common sense and jumps into action. Patrick attacks, but not before Preston comes in spraying him with something that the alien must hate, and he runs off. This gives everyone time to sit down and think. Why didn't it attack Gamble on the ship? Well, it turns out he has a genetic condition called sickle cell anemia. He doesn't really have it per se, he's just a carrier. But it's not something the alien would be interested in, seeing it as a weakness and a disease. Laura thinks that they can use this to their advantage, making a virus, if you will, using Gamble's blood to infect the alien. Senator Ross meets up with his son, knowing that he's in deep doo-doo, but Patrick straight up kills him. Right in front of the guy's grandkids. How could you? Patrick's offspring, which, if you can't tell, there's quite a few of them now, all start cocooning themselves up, the final stage before becoming full-blown adults. Back at the lab, a fully powered Eve makes her escape. There is this funny part where she chucks a baseball at this chick who's wearing a helmet. Like, that probably wouldn't hurt. That is the entire purpose of a helmet. I don't know, it made me laugh. I don't blame Eve for escaping, being treated like a lab rat without hope of ever seeing the world. Outside, they think they can stop her, but it's no use. You can't stop a chick in heat. She drives to where Patrick is, and they finally can get it on. But she unknowingly leads our heroes right to all the cocoons. Using Gamble's blood, they spray them all over. And, just like an exterminator killing bugs, they all die.
Dennis, it's working!
While they're busy, Eve's getting busy. You know what? That's enough sex jokes. I just can't do it anymore. We get it. They're horny. Moving on. Preston's the one who finds them in their own cocoon, and he tells Eve to get out of the way. Seriously? Just shoot, my dude. Well, as you would expect, a fight breaks out, with Laura begging Eve to help.
Eve, I know you're in there. Please help us.
So she does, stabbing Patrick with her back. Now he attacks her, shoving a tentacle into her mouth and killing Eve. I do want to pause here for a moment and mention the creature design. Alien Patrick looks amazing, like a Wendigo mixed with the Thing from the Ritual. I love it. Anyway, with no female alien to protect them, the humans are fair game. Their last hope is to use Gamble's blood and mix it with Patrick's. In the morning, they load all the dead bodies and clean everything up. But as they take Eve away, a cat jumps on her. And then one of the kids is in the room. She gets insta-pregnant, and I assume everything starts over again. We'll find out in Species 3, where they'll probably just drop this cliffhanger ending like they did the rat from the first movie. What'd you think of Species 2, though? Meh, nothing special, I guess. The ending kinda saved it, but the beginning and middle were pretty boring. I'm really glad they brought back the three main people from the first. I can't really say they saved the movie, and I'm sure they were only here for a paycheck, but it did help. Natasha Henstridge took a back seat this time in favor of Justin Lazard, who played Patrick. I think he's the weak spot of the movie, kinda wooden acting, and he didn't really do that much for me. It's pretty dumb that they would even think of recloning Syl after the damage she did in the first movie, but I guess history repeats itself. Finally, I gotta mention the CGI. It's pretty bad this time around. There's still nipple tentacles, they didn't forget about that, but some of the effects show their age, and even though I loved the final creature, the CGI did take you out of the mood a bit. This is the last Species movie to be played in theaters, but not the final Species movie. There's still 2 more to watch, so be sure to stay tuned for those. As for Species 2, I give it 2 baseballs to the helmet out of 4.
I haven't been laid in 11 months. That's unusual for me.